Good morning, everybody. Good morning on this winter day. And we're very much looking forward to seeing Meg from Rome, and she's going to tell you about her name. I uh, I was going to say good morning, Maria. That was wrong. So we're going to start right away. And I just want to announce that the planning committee will meet for a short time at 10 o'clock after our the helper session. So it's all yours, Meg.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Here in Rome is actually early afternoon. I just want to say hello to everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. And if you want to call me, you can call me either Meg, which is an acronym I made up for myself when I lived in the United States, because I realized that most people there would call me Maria. Now, Maria in Italy doesn't mean much because we are all get Maria as a first name. So it's either Meg or Maria Emanuela, which is my full name, or the third option is really Emanuela. Okay, so let me share the screen to introduce myself, and I will go a little bit through a narrative at the beginning of my presentation. So here is the title for the presentation today, and it's Miniatures of Evolution, Carrying Forward as Evolution. And here I am with heartfelt thanks to Caterina for support and a lot of mindful listening. Here you see me in 2015. I am near Altare della Patria in Rome, and I carry, this is a rally for climate action before the Paris conference in 2015. I made this sign for myself, a circular sign: climate change implies personal change, implies social change. And I was saying www.focusing.org. I had just become a focusing trainer, and in 2014. And as you know, you may have heard already this. I asked during a conference, a telephone concert, I asked Gendlin why he did not introduce an action step for as a seventh step for focusing in the focusing practice. Now, at that time, Gendlin's answer really shocked me a little bit. He was very honest and open and said that my way to go into action, which is to take responsibility, was really not working for him, was not working well. I think I understood what he meant only afterwards. And now that I present this program for transformational learning called EVE, we'll see what it means. EVE stands for evolution. I understand a lot of more what that meant, but in between, I had really to do a lot of transforming. So let's see the meaning of this EVE effective. EVE stands for evolution. You may be already used to this from Gendlin, but here it means bigger than us and inspirational. Affective means that evolution affects us. Effective, that by focusing on evolution, we can become effective in taking a right next step in our polycrisis. And taking a right next step means that we want to transform a problem or its solution that is presented to us as a goal presented in a bureaucratic language into an evolutionary task. Here is a quote. I'll let you read this because
thank you.
I'll think you can read this better than I could.
Maybe Katerina would like to read it out loud.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
So
go ahead, Katerina.
we are wrong to believe that the true and the false can only be brought to bear on solutions, that they only begin with solutions. This prejudice is social for society and the language that transmits its order words, set up ready-made problems as if they were drawn out of the city's administrative filing cabinets and force us to solve them, leaving us only a thin margin of freedom. And that Deleuze, 1991.
Thank you so much, Katerina. And
Beautiful.
so this is what is involved to take an evolutionary step for me meant to move from an action step taken out of a sense of responsibility to a hermeneutical action step, which is an action step that is accompanied by and following from a recognition feeling of truth. Now, what brought me to this change, to this leap, to this shift from a simple action step to a hermeneutical action step? I have here three pictures. The first one is the picture of the virus of COVID-19. A lot of this transformation happened during 2022 because what I was facing was the virus as a traumatic event in my life. I was not used to think of nature as having a form of life that could really be so aggressive to kill me. And that was a really very strong impression. And also it came with it the idea that I didn't know anything about viruses. Some biologists do not want to consider viruses as a form of life. And when I started to study evolution, it came out that viruses have a very strong role to play in our own evolution, because as placental mammals, we the placenta derives from a virus that transform the shell of a reptile into placenta. So viruses had really worked their way between two forms of life that are already working on their own to merge the two forms of life together, and at the same time in such a way that one does not attack the other with its immune system. The second thing that happened, the second moment of truth was, as you see here, this is my compost with worms. I started to do composting on my balcony, and with that composting, I now go to plant trees around the town or improve the quality of the soil, which we have in big cities. That came to me as something that I observed someone else doing on YouTube when we were locked at home and we didn't know what to do in our spare time. So I started to do this in the balcony, and I learned later on that Darwin was very much keen on studying worms because of their role in bringing a new life into the soil. So that's something that I had to learn later on. And the third picture comes from Netflix. I don't know if you can see the screen here. It has the Netflix sign, and it's a scene that is called The Suicide of the Walruses. This is something that happened in Russia, and because of the melting of ice, walruses who do not have a vision for distance, for up and down, they only have an horizontal vision because they have to float on ice. When they find themselves without ice on this hill, they start to fall down, and I say to myself, oh my God, that is us. I mean, we are humans with impaired vision for the future, and we are going to have the same problem. All of this came together. I was reading a process model. Some of you know that I am keen on reading a process model, and I started to change the interpretation of carrying forward as evolution, as development. And that was my fourth moment of truth, because when I did that, a lot of things in a process model that were not clear to me, and that were not clear to me in Thinking at the Edge, became a lot clearer. Now, this is okay. Now, in this program, for learning, for taking our evolutionary step, we will write miniatures of evolution using LTL, which is a name, an acronym for the language of the tree of life. What is LTL? It is an open and complete language with at least 3 initial terms, one of which must be evolution, and more terms are added later on, and I will show how. The logical operator equal that links to terms, one rule of inference. I will show you how to work with that, and one or more axioms for non-binary thinking, and the agreement among speakers that the verb to be can be substituted for equal, the equal sign, in the formulas only after a truthful action step that has been inspired by the experiential link. Now, I want to stop here for a moment and show you how this this works, because it really comes from thinking at the edge, a lot of my steps, but I'm not sure that a lot of people understand thinking at the edge the same way I do. So here it is. Suppose I have this, I'll show you. This is my premise. Can you read it? Evolution equal be surrounded by some friendly green presence. This is there is a P that means that this is personal. It comes from my personal experiencing process, and it is, of course, a metaphor. Now, the second premise comes from S here stays for science. So it is waiting for the sun to come back. It comes from my reflection and my experiencing of life of a cyanobacterium, at the beginning of life on Earth, where they started to create oxygen and creating also glucose from the energy of the sun. They were, cyanobacteria have a way to follow the sun. They can swim or float in water, and that's another big event at the beginning of life. So you start from a personal premise, you add a premise that comes from science, and then the rule of inference makes you link the two, because you drop evolution, which is the term they have in common, and you come up with this. Let me again show it to you. You link for the first time two terms that come from different backgrounds, one from experience and one from science. And the rule of inference makes you link the two terms. I have it here in two different colors so that it's easier to say that they come from different backgrounds. But then this is when experiencing comes in. You go inside, you deep into the implicit, Gendlin would say, or you go into focusing and to your experience process, and you have to find what these two terms have in common. So you add to your language a new term that is completely new, that wasn't existing before, that comes from your experience. And what I did when I did this for myself, what came out was that the link, the experiential link of forms of life waiting for the sun to come back, and forms of life that are green and friendly have in common the fact, the experience that you can trust your environment, because you can wait and you long for your source of food to come back, and you trust the green form of life around you. So this is my new experiential term now that I can add to my language. And of course, I can act upon it, and in order to build trust in my environment. That is the action step that can follow from this. So it is a way to link experience and theories to your next action step. Let me go into a little bit of discussion now before I start with the last slides, because maybe you want to ask me questions on this.
Sounds like a good idea. That's so rich and exciting. And I'm sure all of us have so many questions.
I have the sun that comes back on my face, as you can see. So this is really any questions? Any one who is used to with thinking at the edge, who knows a little bit how to work with it? Yes, of course, Monica. Yes.
I'm not used to thinking at the edge, and I don't know how to work with it, but I'm learning. And I love you, like what I'm receiving here from you, Meg. It feels very affirming, and also Lynn, you know, from taking the force course some years ago, the action steps, some of the action steps was to work with community. And then I realized that climate change, the solution is community, because then we teach we naturally, when we're connecting with each other, then the solutions naturally come from that connection. Like, oh, this neighbor knows how to do water catchment, and this neighbor knows how to do the worm culture. That would be me, like you, Meg, doing that. And it's the connection that helps us with the action steps. So it comes from community. Monica doesn't have to know the answers. Monica just helps with the facilitation of the flow of energy through community and the love. So then the action step for me in my village is the making of the town square. And that's what I have to say about that. So I feel very grateful for this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And yes, I want to add that I didn't focus on this on the presentation, but of course, when we go into the learning program, the action step will come as my green presence step, will come from our feeling, our felt sense that transforms itself, but the initial feeling is the feeling of our interconnected crisis. And that feeling has the potentiality to develop, and we can start from any background or any problem that at the moment we feel urgent. It could be a problem with education, it could be a problem with healthcare in Europe, and I think in the US as well. Healthcare, public healthcare after COVID has become very, very problematic. So we can start from any environment or any background we would like to start. We don't have to accept the bureaucratic language that fixes the problem into one and and gives it to us to be solved.
Meg, I wanted to tell you a little incident and to tell everybody a little incident with Jean Gendlin that fits right with what you said. I came to visit him toward the end of his life, and he was very excited about a class he did with Anne Weiser Cornell. And he told me that one of the people was talking about how important it is to take action steps. I don't know if that was you, Meg.
Yeah, I think it was. I must say that I think because yeah, the reason I think it was that it went on for a while, and you have the transcript in my blog page. Because he really went into a step for himself there, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that. So he said to me, I know that action steps are very important, but the word responsibility for me is a bad word. And I said, what do you mean by a bad word? And he said, it can be a tyranny, it can be a should, it can be over you. And I said that for me, the word responsibility needs to be the ability to respond. And he liked that. But we were having a fun time joking about all of the bad words that of course are important words, but they have a bad feeling for us. So the word entitled, or the word, oh, I forget what the other ones were. But then finally he said, is a bad word. And we were both laughing.
That's very interesting because, you know, the agreement in this language is that you use the word is after when you want to close your language, it is no longer open, but you can use the is only if you have taken an inspirational action step with the concepts involved. So that's a way to transform the language in such a way that the is comes afterwards. It doesn't come before.
Yes.
And there is a limit of the verb to be, because you're not entitled to stabilize the flux of life unless you have taken an evolutionary step into it.
Yes, yes. And perhaps it's also personal what way the word is could be transformed, or the word responsibility could be transformed. Maybe for me, is needs to be a word that describes a felt sense rather than a something out there.
Yeah, that's. I hope that is clear with my language, because you can use this when you have done a step like this, when some experiential new step has come forward for you, then you can say is. And it's very linked to the ability of making up new links between different backgrounds and different experiences. Yes, thank you. I want to continue now for the presentation because I have another 2 slides, and then we can go into more discussion. This language has an axiom that has the form evolution is not progress and is not non-progress. And I should establish it through the Socratic method of dialogue, but I don't think we will have time to do this. I add the speakers of the language of the tree of life can also add the responsibility of erasing the ecological footprint from their action step through the regenerative practice of planting or adopting trees. And this language has also a branch for moral imagination, which is the practice that a practice to find ancestors or guides who have already spoken some form of this language. And I close with showing the inspiration for me for the logo. The circular logo comes a lot from this Native American artist, Kanupa Askaluga. These are Native Americans who go in circle, and they have mirrors that mirrors the sky, and that they reflect the image of the sky into their land. And it gave me a lot of inspiration for the logo. Another source of inspiration comes from this movement. It's mainly Europeans. I hope it can catch up in the US as well. It's transforming the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, into inner development goals. So if you want to go to visit their website, you will discover a lot of psychological wellness, well-being practices that are already being shared as tools to meet the climate crisis and the other crises of our times to deal with. This is the references for my presentation, and yeah, I close. You will have the slides with a notice to participants. If you are interested, I'm looking for people who want to help me prototype the English version of the learning program. And so I can close here, I think. Thank you very much for listening. And I can go back to the main. I should stop the screen now. Okay, thanks a lot. And I think we have a little bit of time for 2 readings for Caterina, so that we can then go into the breakout rooms as usual. Now, the 2 readings from Caterina come, one from a poem that I wrote that is in the process of finding ancestors. I have created this character, which is mitochondrial Eve. Now, mitochondrial Eve is really someone who existed 200,000 years ago, because scientists have put together different DNAs from different people and figure out our maternal ancestors. And so mitochondrial Eve is not something I created, but I put the first spoken word from a vocal language into her mouth. I make her to say the first word as no to violence. And let me, I'm not sure, Katerina, do you want to read? Do you want to share your screen? You want me to share the screen? Okay.
And it's also as a PDF in the chat for you if you like it. The No of Mitochondrial Eve. You were dark-skinned, mitochondrial Eve. You didn't reflect much light. That day 200,000 years ago. And maybe that's why history has forgotten about you. Do you see it well, everyone, on the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good. And maybe that's why history has forgotten about you. Erected on a throne of algae and lichens, your sons and daughters you called, to one you gave a sharp stone, not yet the tip of a spear. Spear. To another a bifurcated branch, not yet the arm of a sling. But your greatest gift, the first human word you found within you. For long moments watching the massacre that you wanted to prohibit, from the evisceration, from the breaking of bones, from the grinding of teeth. It came to you, only a bite in the chest, still an opaque symbol to others that made your breath stronger. And it was easy, yes, to make your breath strong, mixed as it was with a growl, scream, and a howl of your childbirths and the wind. And it was a bite, and a no, and a no, and a bite that came out from between your teeth, dirty with blood and saliva, the mark of flesh returning to flesh, to make it human with the first word. And now all of us here, unmute the microphone, please, and we say together, no.
No.
You shall not eat the flesh of your sister, everyone. Your brother,
You shall not
suck
suck
their brain.
the brain. Oh, thank you, Katerina, so much with your wonderful voice. The second one, maybe, I don't know if we want to give more room in the breakout rooms. Yeah, maybe we'll shorten it if you can show it on screen. It comes from a process model, and it's the scene of a dialogue. The first dance, this is what it's called. This is what Gendlin calls it. It's a dance of mutual recognition. It's the first time. Yes, okay, wonderful.
Chapter 7a, yeah. The dance from a process model, Chapter 7a. Let us suppose that two monkeys meet, but neither turns its back. And yet the fighting sequence does not form either, because it cannot, for some reason. Say there is a river in between, or because something new does form. Let us imagine, instead of either fighting or back turning, that the initial threat gesture repeats, only slightly differently. The threat gesture is the relevanting first bit of the fighting sequence, the bit that is also a major bodily shift, fight readying. The threat gesture had a large body shifting effect. If this gesture, this way the body looks and sounds and moves its arms, is now somewhat different, the effect on the other monkey will also be different. That will alter that monkey's body look, sound, and movement somewhat. This in turn will carry the first monkey forward somewhat differently, and so on. We get a sequence of slightly different versions.
Yes, I'm in a meeting. Are you just confirming the meeting for Thursday at 12:30?
Can you?
Did I finish?
See you then. Thank you so much.
We get a sequence of slightly different versions of the same gesture. I call this a dance. Gesturing is a pause in behaving. The first animals who found themselves suddenly human in a versioning sequence must have had an exciting time of it. Being self-conscious, suddenly, in so moving each other, in so dancing, they were aware of being aware. And now we have another slide from Maria Emanuela. You'll find it right away. And these are in the chat for you as well already. So screen share, button. Maria Emanuela Galanti says, imagine now, two humans meeting now in the age of weapons, atomic bombs, drones. Would the threat gesture remain confined before the river, if that is the edge where the two monkeys meet? Or would rather defecate into a conflict of the kind we are sadly experiencing in these same, very same days? Now, imagine you are a third human observing the scene. What would you do in order to take part into the first dance? What could be your gesture or sequence of gestures? What would give you pleasure and let your body open and relax into fluid movement? Close your eyes or softly soften your eyes and imagine or just physically dance to feel the feeling. And now we have these prompts for the breakout room, and I'll put them in the chat again.
Now, I want to say something about the prompts for the breakout rooms. One first question you may want to ask yourself is simply, what I have my moments of truth, my moments. Are they quiet moments or are they more epical moments? And the second question is with these prompts about finding ancestors who have spoken a language of say no to violence or for non-binary thinking, whether you find that the three ancestors, the three guides that I have presented could be suitable to become your guides as well. The first guide is Socrates, who establishes non-binary thinking and challenges common beliefs. The second guide is mitochondrial Eve, who is the first one to become vocal against violence. And the third one are the two monkeys speaking for the first time a language of mutual recognition. So these are the prompts for the breakout rooms. And I understand we want to go into the breakout rooms now to give a little bit of work in.
Perhaps we could have just a few minutes of comments and go into the breakout rooms at 10 after or even a quarter after, so that we'll have a little bit of a chance to see what people are taking from this rich reflection. What do you, or would you rather have them have more time, Meg?
As you suggest, I'm not coming always here. So what you think is best, and I understand that it may be important for people to reflect in smaller groups, but I trust your feeling, Lynn. So you tell us.
Well, we'll leave it up to the group, but my feeling is that that it would be helpful for us to all hear each other for just a few minutes.
And then
yes, maybe people could just say something that struck you, something that you'll take with you about this approach. You may not understand all of it, but something that you will think more about, or questions or anything you want to say. We're very free here, Meg, about people saying whatever is there for them in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try, and see where the felt sense was, and it was the excitement of bad words. I like bad words, and whatever the good feeling that came out of the discussion. So just hello, Meg, hi, and thank you very much for the preparation. And you're in Italy, and
yes,
really struck by I suppose the European even identity. I don't speak Italian, but I had a lovely focusing workshop with Anne Weiser, Cannell, and Barbara McGavin in Spinocchio, near Assisi a long time ago.
mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious and wondering what stirs up in me is even Gendlin's talk about that he wasn't really sure about taking the action step, to take responsibility wasn't working for him. It's like it's the individual meeting of minds, rather than a collective meeting of minds. So I'm curious about how that works, just. So thank you. That's what stirred up in me. That's my response, so thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We have Norit.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so I really, really try to listen to you through my felt sense, through my body, rather than try to understand the concept, which are very intriguing to me. But, I struggled with words a lot because I speak few languages. And when I was doing the focusing training, I always felt that words were blocking the process, that they were not. And then I think that, and I don't know how this connects to anything, I'm just telling you what feels like, that words are, in my language, my Hebrew language, the words have movement in them. And I don't find that in English, the words have movements. And that's what blocked me. And I also speak Italian. So there is something about language that could be moving you along, and there could be something with words, and there could be something that blocks you. So this is like my sense of words. And also I really liked what you said about the biology, the how the biology gets into our work. Somewhere, somehow, just the connection with that made me feel like it goes to the earth. It's soil, it's connected. So I really like that. And the last thing I want to say is about ancestry. So I was looking into my ancestry and I said, oh my God. Yeah, and I think that ancestry can be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be anything. It could be in the universe. Can be a star. Who knows? I'm just saying. You know, it's that kind of a thing. The person that came to me was really Viktor Frankl. That was the person that came to me as a nonviolent, and I read his books many, many years ago, but that was my action step, that I'm going to look into his work again.
Thank you,
Thank
Nuris. I really like the idea that ancestors can be any form of life. In fact, the idea behind speaking the language of the tree of life. The tree of life is what Darwin was catching in his notebooks when he was observing. And now it has become a way to draw your ancestors. But for me, my ancestors are, for example, bacteria or the small forms of life that we usually do not recognize as such, that do not have human forms, but have created the conditions for life to go on.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Mac. Good afternoon.
Hello, Frida.
Hello. I intellectually could not follow all to this wonderful and really rich and multi-layered presentation. I just today, I'm not so much in my head, I'm sorry, but that was so from all sides. You put the topic from all sides, and to me it came like there's a lot of crossing that has been into building this program, right? So I want to mention the word crossing from Gendlin, as crossing brings out something new that has not been there before in the world. So, and I was sort of caught by this term of life language, a language for life. Yeah. And I just had a short resonating visual image for the first part of your presentation, which is looking like this. So this is like stones and the planting and what you did with the warmth and the sun and waiting for the sun. And I love that so much, that you put things together from the biological world, from evolution, from personal experiencing, from longing, from desire, from human moving forward. So I wasn't fast enough for the second part, right? But for the first part, I just wanted to pass that over. Thank you so much, Mac.
Oh, Freda, were you drawing that when I was presenting?
Yeah, I was listening and drawing. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I will contact you to do more with it because the idea of a tree of life, when I go into the program, I really would like people to have an image of the tree of life where they can start adding their own terms, and then there will be a branch for ancestors, a branch for new terms, and it will be something really to have with us for those who will take the learning program.
Maybe you could send it to us, Frida. I would love to have it.
Sure, I do that. Thank you. Yeah.
We have time maybe for one more comment, and then we'll go into our breakout rooms.
I'll just say something very quickly.
Please.
Grazie Emanuela per essere qui.
Oh, grazie a te, grazie a te.
For me, yes, it was hard for following the English and that stuff, but the main point of the action step for me is a problem also. And there's many philosophers that ask, and they maybe I would like to ask myself and in this research that why we are blocked in the action step. I mean, a lot of things came. I have problems with the word responsibility also. Because the life doesn't have that. I mean, we are the product. I will say, I don't know, is a good expression in English, but we are the product maybe of one night of incontinence. I mean, we are the life doesn't need responsibility in life, and it succeeds. It happens without responsibility. So even that, I there's many things happening to me with this problem of the action step, and I think is the problem of the therapy happening in with two persons on a consulting room, and not happening or making things happening outside that place. I heard many therapists saying we have to take we have to I don't know how to say that in English. Also, maybe Nati is here. We can help me.
Yes, I can help you, Alfo.
Tenemos que salir del consultorio en Spanish. How do you say that?
Okay. He wants to say we have to get out of the therapy room.
So for me, it's a great conversation about that, deep conversation about that. I'm putting pieces together and feeling more secure about some intuitions. So thank you a lot, Manuela. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and if we go in the breakout rooms to reconnect and find a felt sense of this multi-layered ideas, could be really, when do I have my moments of truth? When do I have my aha moment? And do I find then inspiration in them to go on?
Yes, the aha moments and the moments of inspiration. Okay, so we will come back at 9:35. We'll have 15 minutes. And then we'll share what we came up with in our breakout rooms. Thank you again so much, Meg.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be waiting for you here for the last part. I will not go into the breakout room, so you can
Okay, so we'll reconvene at 9:35.
Okay, yeah. Letty and I in the same group. So we are talking about the responsibility and action step. We have something. We felt something inside that the action step, not from the responsibility. Responsibility is not a good word, maybe a bad word. Yeah, because most action become from compassion, from love. It's totally different. We also change the environment, change the world, not from the responsibility. But if we did it from the compassion, from something felt inside, and then we take the steps, and then we did it, it's quite different. So we are talking about that. So we, up to now, I still find very difficult to accept the word responsibility. It's yeah, that's my sharing. Yeah, thank you.
I love that way that you said it, that it comes from compassion.
Yes, just adding to what Elisa said. It was so rich what we shared in the breakout room. And also, Meg, your presentation was so rich that I was also having to do other things that I really couldn't take it all in. So I would love to know more about your approach to all of this, because of course something in me resonated very, very much with many of the things you said. And if I had to repeat them or say what I really got from that intellectually, I wouldn't be able to say 2 words. but my felt sense was, oh yes, of course. And it's the same sense that I have when I read the process model and when I feel the connection inside of me. And because I really feel that the more I am connected to my inner wisdom, my source, my felt sensing, I'm more connected with myself, with everything else, with all living beings. So, and that in itself is the action step already. As Elisa said, it's not about responsibility or willpower. It's about when something clicks and is really felt there and felt with love, then there is automatically, it comes the action, the wanting to, or the repercussion with other people you share with, or in whatever. And because when we are stuck in, okay, what can I do with this, and there's the doing, and when the doing comes from a should or have to, it doesn't have many results. And when it comes from that place, it's different. So I would definitely want to know more about your approach, Meg.
Thank you. And you have the slides and you can connect with me and I can connect with you. As I say in the slides, I'm looking for people to volunteer to help me prototype this, because it's still a lot in my head and I need people to bring the energy and themselves as examples to go on.
Maybe you and I can do a dialogue, recorded dialogue to put on YouTube. And we could spell it out more for people. Maybe other people would like to do a dialogue with you on YouTube. But I'm definitely
That's interesting. That's interesting, of course. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if you want to read now the poem I thought, because I'm afraid we are running out of time.
yes, very good.
Dorothy. Dorothy. This is a poem. I'm going to read it first, and then we're going to be able to hear it musically. Open by Mike Scott. Open to the world, open to spirit, open to the changing wind, open to touch, open to nature, open to the world within, open to change, open to adventure, open to the new, open to love, open to miracles, open, beloved, to you, open to learn, open to laughter, open to being blessed, open to joy, open to service, open to saying yes, open to risk, open to passion, to peace and silence too, open to love, open to beauty, open, beloved, to you.